time because I tried to set it up the right way and orientation got stuffed up. Anyway, I'll have to do a live video because, as you know, no room on the phone. I'm at Woodside, Spring Lane, next to the elder tree that I gave a chance. Wow, now 5 years ago, 2001, yeah, 5 years ago. Amazing, isn't it? When the council decided, oh, we're not going to cut the grass because of Vokeed. Every time. Anyway, gonna do a live, might be a bit longer, but first we'll start with the elder bush that I gave a chance. And there it is, look at this now, 5 years later. And it's daylight, not nighttime. Look at this. It's literally busting out of the collar now. Busting out. That collar from West Drayton is literally exploding. I collected this from West Drayton when I found the bottle dump there. And I put it around this tree in 2021, and look at it now, it's exploding. We can also see honesty. There's a good clump of honesty growing here with the purple flowers. It's too early for the purple flowers, but we've got honesty growing here. There's actually a few over the other side of the fence. Here comes another one. Oh, every time I do a video it's always the same. Anyway, this is the size of the elder shrub now. Amazing, to be honest. I need to cut a little bit off the front because it's a little bit top heavy, well, side heavy. So that's an update on the elder shrub. And Tony P is sending me messages not agreeing with the process I want done at 1A, no doubt. Right, we'll turn this around. Something a bit different. A tale of sad loss, really. So we're at the bottom of Spring Lane, Woodside. Actually, I think I'll start down here with an even earlier family house. So we're going for Ritchie Road, Woodside, and this corner house here. Now this corner house on Ritchie Road this is where my father's mother used to live. Annie Violet Moore, or Annie Violet Fruing, Annie Barnard Fruing. My father's mother used to live here on the corner of Ritchie Road. Now all this fascia was added later. It was all brick. You can see here, this house here has the original brick, yellow stock and red stripes. But this house on the corner as well as 21 Delamere Crescent, Addiscombe, and 26 Nicholson and 18 Nicholson, Addiscombe. This was a family home, and when I was a baby and a kid in the 80s, this is the place where my mother would leave me with Nan. And yeah, so basically all the elders in the family when they were younger, like Uncle Bill, my father David, and this was after 21 Delamere, no, it's after, yeah, 21 Delamere Crescent. And this was the only place that I met my grandpop, William Moore Senior. And I remember my only memory being a baby, or not a kid or toddler, and he would literally be pulling Maltesers 50 pence pieces and 20 pence pieces from out behind the wallpaper in the living room above the fireplace in here, or from behind his ear, or behind my ear should I say, and there's me chuckling away as a little kid. So this was the family home, and I've heard some stories about this house. So this was my Nan's house on the corner of Ritchie Road. Something else as well, right at the end, a couple of bombs landed there during the Second World War, hit the railway tracks. They missed the station, thankfully. But a couple of bombs landed at the end. I don't know whether they done too much damage. I know there was a factory the other side of the railway. Might have been a bottle stopper factory. Carbonite, ebonite bottle stoppers. I don't know what it was after that, but I think maybe the factory took the brunt of the impact, because the actual buildings here, maybe the right hand side, they look like they might have been replaced, and they don't look the same. But the ones on the left are original Croydon Corporation houses. These were Croydon's first corporation houses, and they're on Spring Lane as well. We've got two corner shops. This is one corner shop on, the name is, the road has been changed. It's called Longhurst now, but it used to be Corporation Road. Corporation Road. And this is one of the corner shops that my family basically used to frequent, my father's side. So my father's sister used to live on this road, and their family. And as I said, these are Croydon's first corporation houses. There's another corner shop there, and here it is, a family home lost. Now my father's sister Christine, she lived in this house for 50 years, so she had this about the same time as my father got the flat in Addiscombe. Corporation house, you can see it's all shuttered off, the lights are still on there, so they're leaving the lights on all night and during the day. But my auntie Chrissy, she used to live here, and the times that I've been in and out of that door, not a massive amount, but quite a few times. And the story is, my auntie Chrissy, she had a lodger for about 40 years out of the 50, called Corrigan, and he was basically a friend of the family for 40 years, as well as Patsy and all the other relationships that my Auntie Christine had. Corrigan was always here, and he was like a carer for my Auntie Chrissy. Honestly. This happens every time I do a video. I don't think I've ever done a video where I've not had this happen in the background. Anyway, another Tony P message. Right, I was trying to say Corrigan. He was known for his drinking early on, or always, to be honest. And he was basically the lodger for my Auntie Chrissy. And right towards the end, we decided that he was with Chrissy for so long that after my auntie died, that we'd sign over the house to Corrigan, basically for his loyalty to my auntie. But Corrigan went missing, and we found out that he went to North Wales and then he returned. I don't know the ins and outs of the story, but what the hell is falling out of the sky right now? I've no idea. There's crap falling out of the sky right now. Anyway, the house was signed over to Corrigan, but the issue was, 3 weeks later, he decided to go missing. He went missing and he never returned, which means the house was vacant. And basically, the local council, they wanted the house back. So he went away, probably went back to North Wales. The house was under his name, he's not here. The council wanted it back, so they decided to evict my family from their old house. And I bumped into Rachel about a week or two ago, and she said that they were being evicted from the family house, and they've been there for 50 years. She said if we hadn't have signed it over to Corrigan, could have putting a name down for one of her sons, but it wasn't to happen. I'm afraid we were betrayed by Corrigan. So it's just the way life is. I've been swindled out of a couple of flats myself, where legal binding documents have turned out not to be binding. I could have had my own flat at 22 Nicholson in Addiscombe, and these things mean nothing. If there's someone in the background, it doesn't matter if you've got 20 family, 5 family, or 1 family member. Greed is always there. They will take from you. And something similar is happening with the old flat. I'm still there. Things are happening, but in the background, I know I have a solitary family member that isn't entirely honest. But anyway, sadly, we lost this corporation house. You can see that it's in its original state. It's in its original state. I can't really say much more. Auntie Christine died in 2021, which is about the same time as the elder came up, and I started visiting churches a bit more. But I found the Baptist church a bit of a joke, so I didn't stick around there. Right, the front garden. This rose in the corner, this climbing rose, is called Blue Moon, and it's like a purpley blue colour, and it was introduced in the 70s. I probably should have got cuttings off of this really, but this itself was a cutting from a Blue Moon rose that was at Ritchie Road. So this rose was a cutting from the house I showed previously. So this is Blue Moon, and it was introduced in the 1960s. And I've got a book in the gaff, in the glass cabinet, the oddity cupboard, and it mentions a Blue Moon when it first came out. So this will flower eventually. I'm a bit late this year to get cuttings, I think, but it's a climber, and it came from Ritchie Road. Sadly we can't dig this up, but as you can see, there's a big hole here. There used to be a camellia here, a rather lopsided camellia, and it went up and it went frontwards. And last week Rachel and Tim decided, oh, can you dig up the camellia, because it was Christine's. I don't think it came from Ritchie Road, it may have, but they said it was Rachel's mother Christine's camellia. So I managed to get it out of the ground, struggling, pissing with rain, but unfortunately I didn't really get as much root as I would have liked, and in the process I managed to snap their fork and spade in half. So the camellia came out, but I snapped both the fork and the spade in half. The only thing is, I hope that this camellia has my auntie's blessing and my nan's blessing, because I don't think it will survive. Hey, Don Arnold. Yeah, doing a visit to a house. It's a family house. Yeah, I was just saying that I removed a camellia out from the front here, but unfortunately, as you know, digging a shrub out, you're damaging the roots, and a camellia is an evergreen, so it can't lose leaves. To reduce stress, you can't cut a camellia back, or a evergreen plant, to reduce stress on it. So this is where the camellia came out. All I can say is I hope they got it in the ground immediately, because I'm not sure that it's going to survive. You can see there's some pieces of what is it? I don't know. Peony. That's it. Peony. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be savable. I would have liked to have, but it was pissing with rain on the day. Yeah, well, all I can say is I hope that peony survives. It was impossible to take the rose out, the Blue Moon. But this was a family home, and we've just lost it. Family got evicted because of betrayal. We got betrayed by what we thought was a loyal servant to the family. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go for the park. I've got a bit of a wait, I think. And we'll take a look at Ashburton Park. Can I jump in here? Yes. Now, Ashburton Park, this is going to be a full live, so I'm probably going to be going into nostalgia here. We've had a very good year for daffodils, despite the 50 days of rain. Now this is Ashburton Park. I've no idea how far back this goes, but at least to the 1700s. And I'm not sure what the original building was on this site, but I did come here to do a video on the daffodils because they were literally probably the best I've seen them for years, but I haven't had the time to do a video. Can smell them, but they've gone over, and they're not at their prime, they've gone over. You can see there's still some blind ones here, but still this is a very good year. I just wish that I'd done this video about 3 or 4 days ago, but I never had the chance. And these daffodils bring back memories, especially one memory and one photograph of when my cousin Stuart was still alive. I'm pretty, I don't know, the light is on the camera so I miss that. How am I feeling? Not too bad at the moment, not too bad. But as you can see, we've got a good year for daffodils here, despite the 50 days of rain. I've got glare on the camera screen, I'm afraid I've got glare on the screen, and this is all February gold. You may have heard me talking about February gold. And there's the family house over there. Who is this? Don, it's still Don. Hi Don, yeah, I'm not feeling too bad at the moment, so this is why I'm doing the video. Lots and lots of February gold daffodils. Now the picture I took of my late cousin was over here. I got really low to the ground. This is pre-2017, so before he passed away. I took a picture of my late cousin as he was walking through the daffodils basically, and I got as low down to the ground as I possibly could and took a picture of him. Again, a good year. These don't seem to have gone over as quickly. Again, a massive drift of February gold. Very wet underfoot, but oddly enough the park hasn't flooded. I think that's because it's been raining so much that the ground has got used to it basically. If it had been a flash flood, the ground couldn't take it and just sat on the surface. But it's been raining so much in the UK since last year that it's gone beyond saturated and actually got used to, and it's just kept sinking in and sinking in and sinking in. It hasn't stayed on the surface. But this is where I took the photo of my cousin walking through the daffodils pre-2017. Right, see if I can get a bit lower. There's a mother and a baby there doing the same thing. Memories, taking memories. Which is good really. They're making memories, and there's the father. So it's a good moment right now, making memories. Right, looking at old Ordnance Survey maps, going back into the history of this site, although I don't know much about it. But this bus stop here, last year, I think it was about August, we had a big water leak here. Now I'm not sure if it was a burst water pipe. That's probably the case actually. It was probably a burst water pipe main. But this bus stop, years ago, not that long ago, but it was basically removed. Croydon Council were lied to, saying, oh, we're going to get smart bus stops, but smart, you know, and it fell through. Basically, Croydon Council got done. They removed a load of bus stops from Croydon, and it never happened. We never got these new bus stops. But they removed the bus stop from over there, and then when they decided to eventually put all the bus stops back, so the one on Spring Lane, the one on Portland Road, this one, they put all the bus stops back. Shortly after, we had a massive bloody water leak, and I don't know, it could have been a mains water pipe, but it could also have been a big spring, because that's called Spring Lane. And you look at old ordnance survey maps of different times, we're going back to the 1800s, early 1800s, maybe even 1700s. You look on the maps and there's an L-shaped body of water, and it went from that bus stop, of course it wasn't there, but it went from that area there, it went all the way down through this area between where these trees are and around right into the corner. So we had a massive L-shape. Pond here at one time, and it went right into the corner. And then on later maps, it was just limited to Spring Lane. And then after that pond had disappeared, we ended up with a paddling pool. So the paddling pool was there from maybe the 30s to the 80s or something like that. My father made a story. He said that he was playing in the paddling pool as a kid and he got into trouble, or maybe he didn't. A local copper came around and decided, oh, this child is in trouble, and decided to so-called save him and get a load of credit for it, when my father as a child wasn't really in any trouble at all. So yeah, there is a possibility that there is a spring next to this bus stop site that used to feed a big L-shaped pond back in the 1700s, 1800s. We used to have another bus stop. It was further down, but you can't really tell where it was now, because the fence is all uniform and the wall is all uniform. But the original bus stop used to be down here somewhere in the 80s. Oh, here we go. This is where the original bus stop used to be. And you can actually see the difference. This is where the Ashburton Park bus stop used to be. Yeah, they certainly do. This is where the original bus stop used to be here. It's a pretty big wooden affair with wooden slat benches, but as you can see that they've literally rebuilt the wall to look exactly the same, and even the fencing is the same, but as you can see that these sections, they look white underneath, not rusty. They've actually primed them, then painted them, so that's the only difference. This is where the original Ashburton Park bus stop used to be. But yeah, like I said, there used to be a body of water here up until the 1800s, and it's basically an L shape, and along Spring Lane as well. And if it's filled in the 1800s, well, who knows, there could be a load of bottles down there, a load of bottles. We lost a fair few trees in Ashburton Park in 1987 when we had the hurricane. We had the October the 16th 1987 hurricane. Type of trees, I'm not sure what type of trees what were lost, to be honest, not now, but we did lose a fair few from this park. Not a massive amount. I mean, overall the southeast of England lost a fuck ton of trees, especially beech trees, because the beech trees, as large as they are, they had shallow roots. Beech trees have shallow roots, so at the time of the hurricane the ground was so wet, the beech trees basically all their roots were on the surface and not deep down in the ground anchoring themselves. Well, that's what I heard. So that's why we lost so many beech trees in 1987. But as a result of losing so many beech trees, it made a lot of light for the canopy in the southeast of England, and by 1993 the bluebells were going stupid. We have native bluebells as well as the Spanish ones, but in them few years, 5 years or more, the bluebells in the UK went absolutely stupid. An example of this was the Bluebell Railway between Kingscote and Sheffield Park. Seeing their Bluebell Railway journals and the photos and the increase in bluebells in the early 90s was just incredible. Right, we're going to go into this corner, but there's not really much there, to be honest. What I can say, all the gates, well, to the south and to, well, it's more north, isn't it, and northeast, and it's not necessarily south, but still got their original cast iron posts. So these are all original cast iron posts. Not the gates, these are made later. We're walking towards Addiscombe now. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Also, I heard that in May they're going to be doing an archaeological dig on the Ashburton Park site. Now my guess, it's going to be the other side of where the former library was. There's a piece of land where there used to be another building. Oh, hey Don. That's all right. And they demolished this building, probably the oldest one, to be honest. The older house on the site. I'll turn this round. Perfect example, this tree here. This tree was near enough diagonal horizontal even when I was a kid, literally. And kids and teens, I've literally climbed up this tree for decades and decades. So as you can see, this tree here, I think it's an Ace and Segundo, I'm not sure. But generations and generations of children and teens have climbed up this tree, and as you can see, the path is literally diverted for decades, with people ducking under that limb there. I think it's an Ace and Segundo, I'm not sure, but that has provided fun for children for decades. London Plain, oak trees, we've got 1, 2, 3 oak trees, and they're all in their original position, so they have survived 1987 and years after. Some have been lost, obviously. Oh, lots of oak trees, and there's the playground, so I'll try and give it a wide berth. But that playground looks so much different. Oh, almost fell over when I was a kid. We had a green slide in that playground that was so tall. It was a metal one, and it was literally slanted to one side, so you'd get up to the top of it. And even when I was young, I'd go on the slide, but it was very high and it was slanted like that, and in the summer you'd literally burn your fucking arse on it. It was that old school. And we had the 4-seated rocking horse. We had one of them, which is pretty traditional. And we'd have the roundabout, which even on my own I'd literally be on and try and push or kick myself as fast as I possibly could in the centrifugal force. So we had the roundabout as well. It was green, oxidized green. And we had all kinds of climbing frames. We had a climbing frame that looked like a space capsule. Right, now that we're away from the playground, all these lime trees, Tilia cordata, we've got all these lime trees here. And as you can see, none of these came down in 87, or not many at all. I don't think any did, to be honest. They all still seem to be here. See you later, Don. Thanks for stopping by. Got all these lime trees, Tilia cordata. And when the leaves emerge fresh on the lime trees, you can actually eat them like a salad leaf. So I don't think any of these lime trees came down in 87. And also the flowers on the lime tree, or Tilia cordata, linden flower. You can harvest the linden flowers, basically, and they're good for you. Linden flower tea is very good for you. It's a nervine, and basically it's good for, well, obviously the nerves, but other stuff, and sleep and that kind of thing. So I need to do it properly this year, because last year I collected a load and I didn't dry them properly. They all went mouldy in the jar. I need to find a process to dry lime flowers properly and spend more time picking them. I need to get a bigger amount, but I need to dry them properly. Yeah. And here we've got a rose garden now. The rose garden used to be a lot bigger than this, a lot bigger. And so many years have passed now, and the worms have come up and gone back down for so many years, leaving casts they've basically wiped away any sign of where the other rose beds used to be honest. But there's a lot more rose beds here at one point. Oh dear. So we're in Ashburton Park, in my old town, or the edge of my old town. Right, now this building, the weather vane is now gone, and that used to say 1883. It had a weather vane that had 1883 on it. You know what else is gone? The bell. And we've heard about the thing with the bells resonating and frequency and lizards. It looks like the bell's gone as well. So we've lost the weather vane and the bell to human progress. But as you can tell by the red bricks and the style, the inlay here, this was a religious building, and you can see the statuettes that have been built into. Here we go, they haven't quite erased everything, I just realised. Look at the cast iron water catchments, 1882. I was a year out, 1882, so they didn't quite get rid of it. 1882. God help be our Jesu Spro be our, I don't quite know what that is, but you can see that this building is mainly in original condition. It's stayed in original condition, and it's actually been renamed now. It's Ashburton Hall. It has been probably well, Father Tooth was a name attributed to it. It was used as orphanage and maybe other stuff, maybe nuns, I'm not sure. It was an orphanage, and then after that it was a library. Now I remember when this was a library, so back in the late 80s and the early 90s, I used to come in here and get books out from the library. My favourite was Asterix. I used to get the Asterix books out of here in the late 80s, early 90s. And there was another one, I don't remember now what it was. I think it's like something like a church mouse or something. But as you can see, that this is original. There's an arch that's basically been cut off there, so there was another wing of the building here, or a small section. I have to look at maps, maybe it come along here, or maybe it went the other way. I'd have to look at the old maps, but this was a library for many years. I remember going in there for getting stuff when I was a kid. And here we have the obligatory yew tree, Taxus baccata, which is associated with death in Europe and the Northern Hemisphere and Britain. Yew tree. Now these things can last up to, well, 1,000 years, and when they're done and almost dying internally, when they're rotted, they throw themselves down a lifeline and then they start again, basically. So this yew tree is probably about 200 years old, 300 years old, my guess. I don't know whether there are more, there may have been 2 at one point, but this yew tree, Taxus baccata, playground. It's actually a community hall now. I don't even know if you can get in there or it's open, but they renamed it Ashburton Hall. And there was a coffee shop. You can see if it's open, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, it is. There's people there, so they're gaining access from this side. And there's actually a coffee shop here, so I'll show you the coffee shop. There you go, look, there's the coffee shop, Ashburton Park. Right, we've got these buildings here. Now these buildings were caretaker houses. They're shuttered up and blocked up now, but I'm not exactly sure how old these buildings are. I'd say, looking at the style and what's underneath the guttering, I'd say in about 1900, my guess. But these were on-site caretaker houses. You can see that they've cut these conifers, but they've cut them too much and they're basically dead. So yeah, my guess is this building is about 1900. Something over there is blocked up. There used to be a container. They've removed the container from inside there. It's all completely clear now. I bet there's a nice hole somewhere full of bottles. There must be. I bet there's a nice hole full of bottles dating to after the 1900s, maybe even earlier. But as you can see, this is all locked up now. As to whether this building will ever be used again, I mean, we've already got a hall that can be rented out for weddings and gatherings, and we've got a coffee shop. So what on earth can we use this for? I don't know. But I remember this here, this building. This was the one that was being used for the caretakers. This was their office basically. So when the park did have caretakers, they were in there. Pile of wood chip. This is the back of the, well, the side of the Ashburton Park Bowls Club. Even in the 80s and 90s, I don't ever remember this being very tidy or any vehicles being parked in here. It's just another open piece of brown land inside the park. These used to be the toilets, and well, toilets are never open anymore. They were when I was a kid in the 80s and early 90s, but they don't open these things now. This wall here, you can see the imprint in the in the 80s and the 90s. There used to be one of them water fountains here, Novus, Novus, Novus. They had one in the playground at Woodside School as well, and about that time in the 80s they had water fountains, and I remember the kids and me, I used to come here and I used to drink from the Novus water fountain. This was an orchard they planted. The results don't seem to be fantastic. I mean, they've been in here long enough. Been in here well over 10 years, maybe more. But it looks like they're taking time to establish, and I might have lost a few as well. This is a cherry. So we've got an orchard here. This looks to be an apple. This is a cherry, but unfortunately it's died and the graft has taken off. You can see the graft has taken off. So it's likely it won't produce any fruit. Not that it was going to in the beginning, but this is the graft that has taken off on this cherry tree. This is a hazel, basically. A hazel tree. There's another one there. And it looks like it may have been coppiced early on, because both of them have multi-stems on them. So it was coppiced down to a stall at some point in the past. I'm not sure what this one is. This is another cherry tree. It looks like it has survived. I mean, it might just take longer, to be honest, to establish, but the thing is with cherry trees, they don't do well in polluted environments. Should be an issue here, but they tend to suffer with pollution, especially from roads, from cars, and they end up with bacterial canker. This one could do with being tied up a bit more, to be honest. It looks like it might be a pear. No, it isn't. It's an apple. It's another apple tree. That one needs a bit of work done to it before it falls over or gets vandalised, to be honest. That's another apple. It's another tree. Another this is a pear. You can tell by the buds on it that this is a pear. Unfortunately, you can see that I might have to come back with some secateurs and take this dead shit off. Oh, maybe I won't have to. I've still got to maybe cut that bit off, but this is definitely a pear tree. Again, a tree that they say pears for your heirs, in other words, for your ancestors. I see it's coming up at the base, so it might be struggling. But who knows? The one on my allotment, the pear tree I planted on my allotment about a year or two ago, it had 23, 24 pears on it. And that was the first time I had a good crop of pears on that Bure hardy pear tree on my allotment. Never happened before. It took about 23 years or something just to get pears, a crop, and they were lovely. But it's microclimate. It's all microclimate. Cold here, warm then, not wet, wet. What is the formula? It's just too erratic. The environment is too erratic. So it's basically a lottery if you're going to get these fruit trees to do something. But yeah, that pear doesn't look quite so happy. I mean, maybe it will recover, maybe it never will. It might be the ground, maybe the ground's not great. But then again, they've been pumping the sky full of shit for years. And since about 2006, I mean, the allotment, I've noticed the difference with plants just dying, fruit trees and shrubs and all kinds of stuff just dying, because it's not stopped raining since 2007. When that whiny Rihanna brought out her Umbrella song, that was the beginning of the end as far as I'm concerned. Some people actually know about that. When whiny Rihanna brought out her Umbrella song, it done nothing but fucking piss or rain. Right, here. What a sad state. This was basically our tuck shop. I mean, I used to come here in the 80s, early 90s, and this used to be a tuck shop where you get all your sweets and your soda pop drinks, and they've just left it to rot and rot and rot and rot, and it dates to about the 1920s or 1930s. It's full of pigeons now, and you can see that it's just rotting away. They don't care about it, and no one's even done the honours, if you know what I mean. It's just rotting away. But even if they did remove it, what on earth would they put in its place? I've got absolutely no idea what they put in its place. It's a horrible mess. It's been here since the 20s or 30s, this building, and it's in a very imposing position. You see the ground drops off here, overlooking Spring Lane and Lower Addiscombe Road. But there's not much left of this building, I'm afraid. And yet it won't die, it just remains there, suffering. looking sorry for itself. Can barely see traces of my carrot there from 2 Valentine's days ago. I've done a big carrot there. Very sad, but then nothing's changed with this building, to be honest. Nothing's changed. They've actually got some price boards still in there. I don't know if we can actually see them. Oh, there you go. They're quite original. You can see some details there. Metal shutter. Hot dog. See if we can scope that one out. Oh, I'm struggling to get the right angle. Hot dog, definitely. Can't really go any further up because of this lump of wood. Oh. This evergreen oak, now this evergreen oak, always known it's been here, and back in the 80s, early 90s, it had some very unusual features to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually inside the tree now. I remember when I was young, there was a water catchment thing literally screwed to the tree, and a metal pipe, black water catchment and metal pipe, I don't know why it would be attached to the tree, and it didn't end at that. There was literally a kid's tricycle, and this was in the 80s. There was a little tricycle half embedded into the tree, free wheel, probably dated to the 1940s or 50s, and it was slowly being succumbed to the tree. So unless people have actually pulled that tricycle out previously, it's in the tree now. There's literally a kiddie's tricycle inside the tree. Some people might say fairies, but and maybe even that metal pipe and the water catchment thing might be in there as well. I mean, I could put a metal detector to that and it could go fucking stupid, but I don't have a metal detector. I've only got a, I mean, I could put my Garrett carrot to it, but you can tell that if they were there, they've been completely consumed by the tree now. A kiddie's 1940s, 50s tricycle lost in the trunk of that tree somewhere. Right, we're coming towards the end of it now, to be honest. We got an oak tree here. I've been here before, to be honest. Is it this one? Yeah. Now this oak tree, I've mentioned it before, got struck by lightning in 2005. I was at the allotment at the time. Bright sunny day. It was a bright sunny day, me watering the plants on my late cousin's allotment, number 60 was it? And suddenly the clouds just gathered up and there was a storm. And I remember being at the allotment and there was a terrible crash, bang! And then I went to find out where it came from, because I saw the red helicopter air ambulance land in this area. So I came into Ashburton Park and I saw air ambulance, and apparently there was a kid on a bicycle right over here near the tuck shop kiosk, and he got hit in the chest by a bolt of lightning. He survived only because he was on a bicycle and the rubber tyres kept him from getting killed, basically. I mean, some people survive with just their shoes on. I mean, he could have died, but he was on his bicycle, and when the lightning hit him in the chest, luckily he got away with it. He was up here, apparently. And then I remember seeing the air ambulance, so they must have taken him away. But this oak tree, this was the main bolt. Now, when I moved into my flat in 2004, in 2005, this tree got hit by lightning. You can see it goes all the way up. And there you can see where the impact was by the bolt, and it moved its way down, or some people would say up. It goes all the way from here to the ground. Now, when I arrived, there was nothing but wooden strips on the floor. All around this area was all long wooden strips that have been literally exploded off this tree. Now, at the time, it was maybe 3 inches wide and an inch deep of wood that was exploded off. That was it. 3 by 1 inch, and you could literally see the length of where it's rotten now. And I guess this is how oak trees begin to go hollow in the middle. They get struck by lightning, and then it disappeared into the ground there. So if this is sand underground, that lightning bolt would have melted all that sand, and you will have the shape of the lightning bolt underground. Could be dug up. But as you can see, it's very rotten now, which is basically what happens. And the sides have healed. Basically, the tree has healed itself either side of the impact or the wound. And this is how oak trees get hollowed out in time. After a lightning bolt, the whole middle rots out, and you just have what's alive on the outside. Right, this is another tree that I remember from when I was a little kid. I spent a lot of time here. And this is a horse chestnut. There's 2 of them close together, and they just get bigger and bigger. Multi-stemmed horse chestnuts. And the imagination used to run riot here for me and for many other children, basically, because I named this the fortress tree. Now, I would literally stand inside this and imagine that I was protected. You know what Gen X kids are like, they pick up a twig and think it was a gun. And you can see that you got lookouts all around. I've done this tree before, but you can see out in so many directions between these trunks. And then you've got a way to step up, basically. I won't do it today, but it's a horse chestnut. And I used to call it the fortress tree. The imagination would run riot here. And then you got this one here, which is sort of doing the same. There's only 3 trunks, but you can actually stand on this now. Not when I was young. It didn't really have this little thing when I was young. But they're getting bigger. There was a bit of a scare where we thought we were going to lose our chestnut trees because they were bleeding. But as you can see, it's not really doing it now. There was a bleeding issue with the horse chestnuts. And I remember in 2006 we had a really hot year. And the leaf miners on the horse chestnuts were terrible. They looked awful in 2006, the horse chestnuts. Yeah, so that is the fortress tree, what I call it. We've got the tennis courts. Well, that's not so much a tennis court, more of a football court. Here's the tennis. But I think that is about it, really. Apart from some old Nouveau graffiti, a character. There's some old Nouveau graffiti that's been there a number of years. A character, it's purple, one big eye, and a spray tin. It's been there for years, fading away into obscurity. They have tried to plant more trees. You can see that these trees are new, but they have the rubber bands, and you know what happens with trees that have these rubber bands, and they just choke, basically. But they have tried to plant more trees. I think one of them is actually a walnut, I'm not sure. Oh, right. Think that is about it. Oh yeah, I was going to say about the in May they're going to do a archaeological dig at Ashburton Park. Well, that's what I've heard from Phil Swallow. I think Phil Swallow said that they're going to do an archaeological dig. I think I might know the area where they're going to do it, because in the summer months when it's hot and dry, I've noticed the imprint of a building over here. So I'm thinking that this is where they're going to do the archaeological dig, because there was a wing of the building here as well. This is probably in the main house, the main building in the park, in this location. And you can see that the ground, the topography of the ground is sort of an L shape here. It drops here, so this seems to be higher, and then towards that brown container area, recycle I think it is, what I'm standing on. In the summer you see shadows of foundations, so we're still walking on it. And this was another wing of this convent, or where they kept the children, orphanage. But this building disappeared years ago, probably because it was the oldest one and they had to get rid of the history. In fact, I think I can already see the imprint here. Moving along here, I think I can already see it. It's more pronounced from this side, but this is where another big building used to be, and of course that wasn't there, the toilet block wasn't there. But I'm pretty sure this is where they're going to be doing the archaeological exploration. That is about it. I mean, there could be some interesting stuff buried under here, probably Victorian. I found fragments of glass around this area, not much. This corner, this tree here, was a strange tree. It had been there for a long time, but it is dead now. They cut it down. I don't even think it was rotten. I think they just wanted to remove it. But it was like a Nashi pear, so it's like an apple, but it was more like a pear in taste and crunch, like a Nashi pear. Look at that. We've got some turkey tail growing on there. Old turkey tail at the bottom. But this used to be like a Nashi pear. I don't know what they're officially called, but it was big like an apple, but it tasted more like a mild pear. There's some strange stuff coming up here. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what this is. Might be hazel. So that tree disappeared many years ago. It was quite big and I did get fruit off of it. It was like eating a pear in the shape of an apple. It was weird. Right, now we're going for the other corner. And probably going to end it after this. Now, when I was a kid, I went to Woodside School up until 1991. About 1991 or pre, my mother used to work at Black Horse Lane at a structural engineer's office, and I would come down here on my bicycle and I would basically loop all around this park, especially this area. I'll go around and around and around this little green patch, circling around, but around all the park in general. And I remember one day cycling around here furiously, I came off my bicycle and I scuffed all my elbow or knee up. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was my elbow. I scuffed all my elbow up. This was pre-1991 and it was pretty bad, and I was crying and I wanted to get it sorted out. And basically what I done, I went over the bridge up Elmer's Road, looked at the houses on the left hand side, and one of the houses, there was a gap between one of the houses and I could hear children, and I went to this house up to the front door and just crying and said, could you sort me out? And that's just what happened back in them days. This was in the 80s. A random child comes to your door with a scuffed up elbow or knee, and the mother of the family sorted me out. She cleaned it all up and put disinfectant or whatever it was on it, maybe TCP or witch hazel. That's just how it worked back in the day. A strange kid turns up in distress and the family mother would sort you out. That's the British way, you know. And they themselves are probably a war baby or before. But yeah, that was a bit of a story when I came off my bicycle here. Scuffed myself up and then randomly went to a family in the next road and they sorted me out. And here we've got French bulls, pentank. We've got a pentank area. French bulls. Croydon Pentank Club, or Petank, should I say. So Croydon Petank Club. That is about it, to be honest. I think I've pretty much gone through everything I can, apart from looking at old Ordnance Survey maps, of which I don't have. And there would have been greenhouses here, there would have been kitchen gardens, there would have been everything, orchards as well. You look at Ashburton Park, Croydon, older maps, you would have had outdoor gardens, orchards and greenhouses. They would have had everything here. Not now. I mean, we've got bowling, not pentank, we've got actual bowling. I don't know whether they're still doing it, I assume they do. And some years ago there was a recycling station here, but they decided, as with everywhere else, they were being abused. Things that weren't supposed to be here were being dumped here, or they're filling them up too quick. They got rid of them. So we did have recycle bins here, big ones. They disappeared basically. And I think that is about it, to be honest. I mean, Ashburton Park is a great place to come, really. It has been for decades. And there's some really old trees here, various trees. Loads of oak trees. We've got the diagonal slanting Acer. I'm pretty sure it's an Acer Negundo. We've got a pine tree here. We've got cedars. We've got avenue of lime trees, and not one of them seems to have come down in the hurricane years ago. We've got the evergreen oak that harbours a kiddie's tricycle from the 1950s. It's in there somewhere. Oh, see, Rock has been there as a sticker on the caretaker's house. Rock. Yeah, we've got several evergreen oaks. So they were planted as well. The yew tree. We've got to have a yew tree near a religious site of some kind. There is a cedar as well, a big cedar. I suppose we could have a look at the bowling green. I take it it's being used. And this looks like their clubhouse. This is their clubhouse. So this is the bowls pavilion, which isn't exactly right on top of the bowling green, but 2025, this is out of date. We're now in March, but it does have a path down. And here's the bowling green. See what the condition of the grass is in. It's been cut. Really? Wow. Electric fence. What are they trying to keep out? I don't think there are any badgers around here. Or just keep people out. Wow. It might just be trying to keep people out, but that is legit an electric fence, and you can hear it clicking. Can you hear that click? Oh, they've literally got an electric fence around the bowling green. Fuck. Oof. All the chairs are covered up. Wow. Talk about overkill. Right, I'm gonna